objectives. We will be going through the speaker's introduction, and we would be glad to hear from them, and a powerful story of transformation, the best practices in STEAM education, which are the inspiring stories from our speakers, the challenges faced by them and their organizations, and what solutions they have proposed and how did they overcome those challenges. Some suggestions from our side and recommendations for people who want to build their own STEAM programs. So here we go. So about the session objectives, as I have already said, that we are exploring the best practices in thematic STEAM education. We shall be sharing inspiring stories of social entrepreneurs and innovators in STEAM education. Yes, we will be exchanging teaching learning ideas with them because we want to know more about how are they practically applying STEAM education into their context. We will be discussing the approaches to teacher training and professional development and the challenges and how did they overcome those challenges and what solutions they have for all of you if you want to have your own STEAM program. So let's move to our speakers, our wonderful panel. And I'm so glad to have people from different countries. We have Mr. Chintan Vora from Australia, Nisaf from Tunisia, Mr. Muhammad in Palestine, Ms. Suzanne Walters from USA. So we have a mix of speakers and they are working with their organizations in different countries. We would like to hear from them now. So over to Nisaf, because I think Chintan is late. So I would ask Nisaf to start if she can.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Abhilasha. I'm glad to be here with such panel and with such exciting topic. I am Nisaf. I'm from Tunisia. I'm an activist and educator, a facilitator with a special passion for education, to transform education with sustainable development curricula. So I started by sensitizing and awareness with my audience, because in Tunisia, we face a lot of challenge according to in order to transform education, climate change education and sustainability. So we developed some curricula and games and educational tools via a blended approach to manage education for green building for the people and the planet, for children and teens. So we drive social environmental change by blended approach, facilitation games, in order to foster sensitivity, to educate, to facilitate learning, and also to build best practices for sustainable building for schools and primary and secondary schools. So this is our vision. My vision and the vision of EcoClico is to drive change and impact for green building sustainability.
Oh, that's amazing. So welcome on board, Nisaf. And we would be hearing more about your vision, your organization's amazing best practices, and a lot of things from you. I would ask Mr. Muhammad to kindly introduce himself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Isa. I'm from Palestine, particularly from West Bank. Actually, I'm the founder of the Creativity Lab for Empowerment and Innovation. I have started my journey with education since 1997, when I was one of the youth workers who was, participated in different activities with the civil society organizations. And I will tell you more when we go deep in the session and clarify what we are doing exactly at the Creativity Lab for Empowerment and Innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad. It was amazing to hear from you and looking forward to hear more of the stories from your side. And now I would call Susan to come forward and share about her organization and herself.
Hello, good morning. I'm Susan Walters, and I came to this session through School 21, which is based out of Singapore. I have been working with them for over a year, and they came to me because in the United States at my school, I piloted a STEAM program for our district when nobody really even had known the term STEAM yet. And so I've taken what I've learned in the classroom and in working with those districts, and I'm working with School 21 to come up with best practices and the best ways to teach teachers and put together a program that would be best for the students. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into our questions. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you all. And I apologize as Mr. Chintan has messaged me that he was not keeping well. So we hope to see him soon by the mid of the session, hopefully. So we'll move to a story I would like to share with all of you. So I hope you can see my screen. So right here in the middle is a young man. He's a high school student and he lives in Ecuador in the rainforest of Amazon. So I want to share this amazing story of his transformation through education. So this young man right in the middle, he, in his summer holidays, he goes to one of the informal learning institute, which is Yachana Foundation in Ecuador, and he enrolls himself into their summer program, which has around 4 different courses. So as long as he stays there, he's doing all those courses, which are very much connected to real world learning. And as you can see, these courses are about ecotourism, animal husbandry, agricultural practices, micro-enterprise development. So they are very diverse into the type of skills what this young man is going to take through the period of, say, 4 weeks. So when he's learning about all these things and he's taking these courses, and at the same time, he's doing a lot of research, exploration, field trips, and a lot of learning activities are happening within their campus because it's a massive campus. It's around 3,000 acres. So they are integrating all the concepts of science, technology, engineering, and math, which is STEAM. And all these concepts they are applying towards the learning for these courses. So every day they do a lot of activities in which they integrate the subject knowledge and apply it to learn skills and all the values and attitudes they build towards a sustainable development perspective. So this is the approach. And you can see he's standing right in the middle over a banana circle. So this is one of the activity they do in their agricultural practices. They integrate science, the science behind farming and how the trees grow. They integrate math and they measure the dimension of the pit they need to make for getting the roots done because they want to plant a banana tree. And then they design and they come up with their solutions and then they try it in the actual field. If they fail, they redesign, they modify, and they come up with another solution. So that's how they integrate engineering.
Hi, Susanna. I am in Gofran's account. So I see her.
Hold on, you're in speaker.
Lena? Yes, I am purposely because I have no headset.
Sorry for that. You can continue.
No worries. So he's been integrating all the subject knowledge which he has learned from his formal education system. And when he comes to this informal learning center, he applies all that what he has learned into a real life scenario. And he does amazing jobs and all those learning activities with his mentors and the other volunteers over there. So when he finishes this course, he goes back to his house and it's his home and his community, and he takes all the learning with him. So he's basically transferring the learning from the center to his community. And with the learning, he's also taking a bit of, some of his projects like a water filter, what he has made when he was here. So his family can have access to, safe drinking water. So he goes to his community and he is empowered and equipped with the skills, the knowledge, and the values and attitudes to build his own sustainable program and to solve problems for his community. And you can see the other visual where the tourists are also making some eco-friendly materials. They have a lot of things in which they have integrated tourism, cooking, agriculture, and even enterprising skills along with the education and all the aspects. So this is one of the story I thought, it would be good for us to know that how some informal learning centers are there around us, which are empowering and helping our youth to get those skills which are missing in the schools, in fact. So these centers are trying to bridge the gap which we see in the skills, in the youth, and those skills are needed for their future. Those are the 21st century skills, what we believe. So that's pretty much I wanted to share with you. And because we have an amazing panel and we have a lot of organizations around us, they've been doing great jobs in terms of equipping our youth with skills. So this story is a very powerful story to me, and it's quite an inspiring story. And we have so many such stories and so many such organizations around us. And in our panel, we do have people from those organizations. Now, when it comes to parents and educators and almost all of us, we want to find the best learning program for our child. So I want to ask you, you have a list of the activities which you can see on my screen, and it should be in the Zoom poll as well. What do you think, out of all these activities, which learning activity do you feel is very important for your child to develop skills, attitudes, and values? You may choose more than one. So we can have this poll, Gufran.
I'm sorry, because I'm not the host. I couldn't, if they can put it in the chats, can you
All
please
right.
put it in the chat?
Okay, so I would just look for your responses. I want to hear from you now. Let me know, as a parent or as an educator, what learning activities you want for our young generation to be able to have skills, attitudes, and values to thrive in the future. And in that meantime, I would love to, and I hear from our speakers, if Susan can give me some of the ideas. What do you think is the most important activity you would add in your program if you have been given a chance? Like, you can say 3 or 4, it's up to you.
I actually think that 6 and 7, the inquiry-based learning and the problem-based learning, over what I've learned from dealing with students and teachers, we start in the classroom, but as I was looking at your story about the transformation, that's our ultimate goal. That's where we want students to take it into their communities, into their villages, into their homes. So all 9 of these are very good, but I think if they don't have the inquiry and they don't find if the activities that they're doing are not answering a question or solving a problem, I don't think it has the basis in the STEAM that we want them to take back with us. So for me, it would be inquiry-based and problem-based learning.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. And how about, I'm getting wonderful responses from our participants. That's amazing. How about you, Mr. Muhammad? What do you think? If you have to vote for, say, top 3 activities.
Actually, what the Creativity Lab does is based on maybe 3 points of your list: the project-based learning, problem-based learning, and the play-based learning. And we do focus so much on play-based learning because we do consider that this is one of the main elements that are connected with the non-formal educational tools that children needed very much.
That's nice, good to know. And we are getting responses. Thank you, Ms. Hanum, and you're always there in all of my sessions. So hands-on activities. And then we are getting project-based, play-based, yes, more or less. It's inquiry-based from Thelini. Thank you, Thelini. And Asha, game-based learning. I know you're an advocate of play-based learning. So problem-based and project-based. So it's more or less about the type of learning, what we want our young generation to have. It's not about the tools. It's not just about coding or programming. It's about what type of skills we want our youth to have. So the learning is very important, and that too, what kind of learning will lead them to the 21st century skills. So thank you for participating. I'll move to the next slide, and no, this is the one we will have later on, this kind of poll. So now I would like to hear from our speakers about their organizations. I mean, we want to go in depth, like what do they do and what are their best practices? Do they have something to share? Their inspiring stories and success stories as well. So I would like to start from Nisaf. If you would like to come forward and share about your best practices, your story, your journey, or whatever you feel like about your organization.
Yes, thank you, Abhilasha. In fact, EcoClico is incorporating blended approach, which is very promising in the terms of the Tunisia environment. So it's an innovative facilitation that merge with such tools that you mentioned in your slides, and the adoption of digital and hands-on. So basically, we are developing something like a collaborative learning, emerging with gamification, game-based learning, project-based learning, and problem-solving learning also. Because EcoClico is for play, learn, and resolve. So we act on this kind of collaborative learning to facilitate green skills and sustainable building approach for children and teens, and how we can really facilitate the green skills, basically on urban planning and construction and building with a way of thinking, like systemic thinking, strategic thinking, critical thinking, and some personal skills like creativity, integrating problem solving and collaboration, and of course leadership, because we build the future sustainable leader of the future. So children and teens are the future leaders, and I can say they are the future heroes, sustainable heroes for our planet. So basically the themes, STEAM-based, that we approach is building and construction, urban planning, that we around Tunisia scenarios, with getting powerful impact also, like participatory children's communities, private and even public institution. And this kind of curricula, gamified curricula, and problem-solving curricula are incorporated in science and environmental also, wherever in schools or even university. This is for the future. So the main impact that we drive with best practices in STEAM, such we intend to incorporate technology for reinforcement, because we can't drive impact without technology. Why? Because technology facilitates learning at the same time. It provides with the capacity building for the children. So it's around the impact for 90% with following the chart of Sustainable Development Agenda into the school program, actually. So with familiarizing this kind of curricula and this kind of blended approach with learning strategy and for children, we can really, I can say, we can promote knowledge, as you said, structure, values, attitudes, eco behaviors, so where they can children, so they can shift the attitude of children. At the same time, we solve a critical problem. This is about climate change. It's a global problem, and how we solve that by education, because education is the key and the solution, is the base and the foundation also. So we involve education in all the process of our project, of EcoClico, I can say, to transform and to design a game-based learning for entertainment, engagement, and also provide a critical thinking for the student as the children. So can the children be the choice maker, and also, and not only the user who play, but the user who provides solution. This is the main thing. So I think we are not here, teacher, to educate, not only to educate our children, but to provide them with the tools and with efficient tools, so they can drive their own solution and create their own project in the future. So I think green skills is very important in terms of every tool that we are going to use, and the green skills is the future for global transformation and also for social transformation. So let me share a little slide about EcoClico theme-based sustainable development, that we are going to incorporate it into our curricula, wherever in classroom, clubs, and even in institutions. Oh, I think that I don't have the right to share.
Yeah, you do have
fun.
you do have the right now. Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Nisaf, you are on mute. If you can.
Okay. So as you see, this is our approach for serious game to build the green skills. So it's a kind of urban planning and building themes. We provide it in digital tools, like we say, this kind of animated or games. And also we provide it with the knowledge, such themes in green schools. We call it green schools with activities, energy, water, land, air, and natural world. Also green healthy schools, also with a game living, or we can say green living, like sustainable living, also with atmosphere and climate change issues, with also ecosystem and biodiversity, because biodiversity is related to the environment of the building. Also, we build themes for outdoor and indoor. Why? Because it's kind of a play with the nature. So we do approach the nature with the building, so we can provide or strengthen the connection of the children with the nature and the building. Thank you.
That's amazing to hear from you, Nisaf. I mean, I personally believe that this is one of the favorite topic for me, because I always look for, the ideas towards green building approach, how to have our green schools approach. And very recently, I have added an activity to our curriculum, which is about the green classroom. So we ask students come up with their solutions of green classroom, because they're sitting in that classroom. So we want them to have proper light, ventilation and everything, and less energy and soundproofed, and whatever the best possible ways we can add to that classroom. So hearing to your ideas, I was like trying to visualize my own idea of the curriculum planning. And I really liked how you were addressing the SDG 11, I believe, the sustainable cities. And with that, you are also addressing almost all the other SDGs related to climate change and the biodiversity, the environment. It's amazing. And I love the idea, play, learn, and resolve. So this is what we want our kids to do. They play, they learn, and then they resolve, and then they come back to the cycle, and then they learn through this cycle. So
Yes.
yes, so you are creating an impact because your mission is intent to impact. And I'm very, very happy to hear all this from you. The green skills approach is wonderful. And after that, I mean, we want to hear best practices and story from Mr. Muhammad. So welcome, Mr. Muhammad.
Okay. You know, I mentioned from the beginning that I am the founder of Creativity Lab for Empowerment and Innovation, which is a Palestinian NGO that was established in just, you know, before the pandemic, I mean, COVID-19. Creativity Lab for Empowerment and Innovation is based now in Palestine, and we have started the process to establish another branch in Egypt, and we plan also to have to register our organization in Jordan, because this is also connected with the entrepreneurial spirit that we have as an institute, which is based on scaling up. The main slogan of our organization that we facilitate, we do believe in the power of facilitation. And you know, the origin of facilitation comes from the French word facile, makes things easy. You innovate, and together we change the world. And this slogan actually is translated in what we are doing with the teachers and the students. We are a group of educators, development experts, change makers, social entrepreneurs who been gathered in 2018 and decided to have, let's say, another structure of NGOs that could provide the local community with innovative programs that could help and contribute effectively to the development of our region, and also to support the implementation and realization of the SDGs 2030. Our vision is based on empowering the next generation. We do believe that in the power of the next generation. We empower the next generation to address the society needs. You know that our world is full of complex problems, and the traditional way and dealing with these problems are not needed, especially in our time. I mean, in our real time, we need another way to solve these problems. And we have to start from the children, because we do believe in something which is called resilience, that we invest in the new generation, because they will be the leaders of tomorrow, and we are sure that they will bring the change that all of us are looking for. Our mission is based on offering innovative programs to children, youth, and women in such a way that could help them to inspire the others, and even invest more in what they have as skills to solve the most complex problems that all of us face. The theory of change of the Creativity Lab is based on 4 or 3 main pillars. The first one is creativity, and actually creativity is something which is must, I can say, in Palestine and in the majority of the Arab world. All the organizations, you know, I don't like to generalize, but you know, according to my experience and knowledge, that the majority of the organizations would serve the entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs, they don't focus so much on this pillar. I mean, creativity. How we can people believe in their creativity, how they can develop their creative confidence in such a way that they can move to the next pillar of our theory of change, which is innovation. All of us know that there is no place for invention right now in our world. What we can do is to help people to innovate and add to what we have as development, or as to what we have in general as progress in all the fields of our life. And the last pillar of our theory of change is entrepreneurship, which is the technical part. We do believe that not all of the people must be entrepreneurs. All the people need to be creative or to believe in their creativity. They can also use innovation as a way of thinking and all the things that they address in their lives. But in terms of making them social entrepreneurs, this is their choice. I mean that it's a technical process at the Creativity Lab, because if you would like to move from the second pillar to the third one, to the last one, you need to believe that you have the capacity to establish your startup and do all the homework which is connected with entrepreneurship. And all of these pillars are connected with the quality of education, because we do believe that this is something which is very important for the development of our country, Palestine, and even for the MENA region. And the Creativity Lab focus so much on the SDGs because we do believe that at the end of the day, any vision, if we are talking about the personal and professional vision, should be connected with, let's say, a framework. And the SDGs are a good frameworks that gather all of us everywhere in the world. The main methodology of our STEAM program is based on 3 pillars. The experiential learning. We believe in the power of the experiential learning theory, as it provides, the teachers and the students with so many rooms to reflect, conceptualize their reflection, act, and gain experience. And this is a very dynamic theory. When you translate it in what we are doing in practice, it gives good results. The second part of our methodology is based on facilitation. As I mentioned from the beginning, we give facilitation a big importance in all the things that we do at the Creativity Lab. And here we do not mean, let's say the skills of individual facilitation. We do believe in something that we call the group facilitation, because at the end of the day, the process should be owned and managed by all the people and they need to play a major role in what they are doing. And the last component, and this component is very important in terms of STEAM, is the arts-based component, in which that we use all the kind of arts as a way in order to empower children and even teachers. Maybe I missed this point that the Creativity Lab consider itself as a hub of empowerment, which means that we need to improve the psychosocial well-being of teachers and children, which leads us to improve their life skills. And this could help us, to guide them in such a way in order to find such a place as confident and productive citizens who can contribute effectively to the development of their countries. You can see here a lot of pictures about the activities that being done, and we do at the Creativity Lab. The main project is translated in something that we call the community labs. And here there is an integration between the formal and non-formal educational tools. These pictures represent, some trainings that being delivered to the teachers in the schools. And one of these pictures, you can see it here. It's about recycling. And this is one of the lovely experiences that we have at the Creativity Lab. Teachers enter the rooms and they find a lot of garbage. And during the process, we ask them to find a solution based on what they have as skills and knowledge, and taking into their consideration the STEAM approach. for this problem, and they start, you know, to find solutions, to create relations in an open space without having any guidance from our side. And later on, we repeat the experience with providing them with instructions, and at the end of the process, you know, they need to reflect on the both ways. And the results of these discussions, you know, could take they can take it to their classrooms while they are while they are when they, you know, while they work with their students through the use of STEAM approach. The program also targets the school students, and here, as I mentioned from the beginning, that we focus so much on empowerment, and through the empowerment we use the arts-based practices. Children sometimes go to the nature in order to create a connection with the nature, especially when we are talking about climate change. And the journey of discovery is very important for children, because there is a big problem when we are talking about academia and you know, practicing. You cannot tell the people that, you know, we have a lot of phenomena in our life without, you know, showing them these phenomena, and at the end of the day they need to discover it. You know, the discovery, the journey of discovery is very important during all the activities that are delivered by the creativity lab. You know, this is just an introduction of what we are doing, and I'm ready also to answer all of your questions when we come to the recommendation part of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad. I mean, I'm kind of speechless now, because I started with the story, and now hearing to all of your best practices and how are you empowering the children, the youth, and the women. I mean, the teachers are being empowered. So when those empowered teachers go back to their classroom, definitely they would like to, you know, do the same with their students, and they would be building student skills. Amazing. The framework about how do you empower with the experiential learning, the art projects, and how do you facilitate all this, and as a in the form of groups. So they do a lot of group work. And the best part I liked is the art project, because I always believe that we need to keep that A into the STEM to have it as STEAM. That's very impactful for our students to have the creativity, to be able to do innovation, and then the problem solving comes along. And I don't want to take time from Susan. So Susan, please come forward and share your best practices, your inspiring story, and School 21's mission with all of us.
I would be happy to do that right now. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So can I?
Yes, I think Gufran is going to do that.
Let's try now.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm working with School 21, and in my introduction, I just wanted to kind of give you an extra overview on what I'm bringing to the table from the educator side to work with a tech ed company that is working toward STEAM best practices and doing everything that we want to talk about today. So I do have a business analysis degree, and I spent 7 years in the business sector. So I bring that in. 20 years as a teacher, 7 years as a STEM teacher. I piloted a program. I've been doing instructional design for the past 3 years, 2 of those with School 21. And I also work with another company called Project ARC, which they are really involved in problem-based learning and SDGs. And we want to make sure that what we are teaching and what we're giving to the educators to give to the students come back, go into the communities, just like our transformation story from the beginning. So working with School 21, they want to do STEM and ed tech solutions to impact 21st century skills and lifelong learning. And that's, I think, a lot of what we're talking about today. We want lifelong learning. We want these STEM programs to go out into the communities and continue on through generations. I got connected with School 21 through STEM.org in 2017 because I was piloting the STEM program. I was trying to find resources to help myself figure out best practices, kind of like what we're doing here today. And STEM.org had a very nice program that made sense and was useful for in the classroom, or if it was an after school program or clubs or many different things. It fit all the molds. And that's kind of how School 21 found me. And School 21 also offers to be able to go to STEM.org and go through this program. So later on, we're going to talk a little bit more about best practices, but for me, that foundation for the teachers to get them on board for all of the things that we're talking about today is important even before you begin to shape your programs. School 21 has gone through these phases from 2017 to now, and the newest phase is SDGs. They're now on board. They've kind of put their practices together. This is, they have different kits. They have do-it-yourself kits. They have kits that go into the school. But now they're saying, well, how do we take this next step? How are we going to make this impactful in our communities, in the places where our students are, the lifelong learning that we talked about, the framework, the SDGs. We want to say, how can we make an impact, not just learning, but impacting society? These are the best practices that School 21 uses. A lot of them I used when I was piloting the program in the schools. You have to figure out what standards you want to use. And if it's going to be a global presentation, then you have to make sure it's a global presentation. When I first started to do it, we were just focused on teaching in the classroom. We missed that step where we took it out into the communities. And that's why I'm so excited to be a part of this, because that's where we need to go. And I look back on some of the lessons that I did, that I developed, and I'm thinking, what can I add? Where does the SDG fit in? How can we involve the communities with these lessons? I had one, it was actually a group of fourth graders, and I always wanted the students to come up with the problems or the framework of what they wanted to do, because if I gave them a topic, they weren't going to be as invested. And then I had a bunch of fourth graders that during Earth Day in our community, we had a local cleanup where they go out into the community, they help clean up trash and different things. We have a lot of streams where we live, and they were not allowed to go into the streams for safety reasons, pollutants, different things that could have been in the streams. So this group of children created protective equipment to allow them to go into the streams. They came up, but we took recyclables, and they figured out different things. But the part that I missed when I did it, because it was almost 5 years ago, was we didn't take it. I should have had them do a presentation to the city council. We want to be a part of the streams. We want to clean up and bring that community into our classroom and take our classroom out into the community. So that's sometimes a piece that people miss because they're focused on the learning part or how we're going to get there, but they don't look at the wide reaching. So that's just one of the stories from the classroom that I've taken. Then that's why I'm excited to be a part of this, because this is the next step. So, and like Mr. Muhammad, I look forward to your questions when that time comes.
All right. So, I mean, now again, when I heard about your best practices and how from where you started when you were when you just, you're building your company, School 21, and how your company has started initially, and how did you improve, and how have you, overcome so many challenges as well, and where are you now? So to me, there's quite a lot of progress. So you are doing a lot of into best practices, and your practices are very diverse. The best thing what I like is, how do you take the learning out of the classroom and take it to the community, and then you bring the communities to the classroom, and it's like a reversible kind of process. So that's very impactful, and that's how, the learning should be. And I just want to share something, that I really love your DIY kits, because I got the opportunity to review those DIY kits and give my feedback on it. So they were amazing, and they were all based on some real world problems. So that's how the kids want to connect to their communities. So that's amazing. And that's really good to know from you, Susan. Thank you. I would take another question for our speakers, since we have heard about their best practices, their organization's mission, vision, and their inspiring stories. I would like to come to a specific question which our participants and our audience want to hear from you. So as an organization, when you started your organization, or you started working with it, with different people and, different areas, what were the challenges you had faced? Were there some common challenges? And if as an organization, like each of you have some unique challenges what you had faced, and you want to share with us those challenges to help our audience build their own program, and how did you overcome those challenges? How did you come with some kind of solution you want to share with us? So it'll be very beneficial for our audience to hear from all of you, because you are expert in your industry. So I would like to start from Nisaf, if you would like to share a few of your insights.
Yes, we know at first that the most challenging thing in Tunisia we face is about rapid urbanization, and our city is expanding at a rate of 90% with a kind of forest or whatever. So among our environment, we face really a global challenge is about energy consumption, and also how we can adapt our infrastructure and building for the people and the planet. So our building here, we generate like a 48% of energy consumption in Tunisia. So with the whole with inevitable urbanization, so how really we can drive this kind of challenges. And the most important thing, that our children, the future generation, that in sustainable development, we take into consideration the future generation, how the future generation can impact this environment and these global issues in Tunisia. So when we try to engage them in such a topic, in STEAM theme-based sustainable development, we face such a kind of problems related to their engagement, related to their understanding of the topic, and also related to their intention, how they can really change behaviors from non-responsible children to a greener children, or I can say to eco-responsible children. So we face the challenges of resources efficiency. We will lack resources efficiency, that we can use it to transform this kind of engagement and capacity building development into children. Also, we face challenges in kind of intention, in kind of I can say assessment, when we provide in facilitation like a group mix work for passion groups, homogeneous groups, heterogeneous groups. So we face kind of first the first challenge that we face is about the assessment system that you want to provide it to the children. So how we can face this kind of, how we can overcome this kind of challenges. We provided this facilitation methods engaging or incorporating green building practices with simple tools like bingo games, like puzzle games, like GPL games, so they can engage and motivate them about the impact of our building on our system or our environment. So this is kind of life cycle assessment, starting by design. Then we approach their feedback. We incorporate children feedback. We incorporate children imagination, because when we drive this kind of facilitation workshops and groups and game groups, we attend to deliver the freedom to the children so they can act on their assessment. We don't provide assessment, so we facilitate. That's the power of innovative facilitation. We provide them with the tools that they can operate in their assessment, so they can learn from the assessment and then create and reflect, like critical thinking on their assessment, wherever in water, energy consumption, materials, resources, indoor environmental quality. So this kind of important communication tools to enhance the dialogue between different game-based learning and team building among the group of children. And also we push them to develop and to realize the importance of this such a kind of theme and the value and the potential of green building in our world, because we live in this world. And the most challenging thing, how we can provide a green world for them.
Thank you so much, Nisaf. I really like the idea about, you know, how you have come up with the solution towards assessments. So as our children, they are already, you know, so much sick of taking assessments in the school, and those are very rigid assessments. So definitely when we have a program like this, a STEAM learning program, we don't want those rigid assessments to be a part of such program. So let's not do that. Let's not have assessment of learning, rather than we should have assessment for learning, so that the students, you know, they learn from the assessment. It's not like we are just assessing them for the sake of assessing. So this is something amazing, and we should be, you know, getting more ideas into these things. And the life cycle assessment analysis is one of the very good cycle what you have been, you know, using. So amazing. Thank you so much, Nisaf. Mr. Mohammed, we want to know your challenges and your solutions. And yes.
Okay, and in terms of challenges, you know, I would like to share with you some questions that we keep asking ourselves at the Creativity Lab. You know, the first question is, do we need teachers or pedagogues? There is a big difference in terms of the qualification process for teachers and pedagogues. We do believe at the Creativity Lab that not all the teachers in Palestine are pedagogues. You know, we need to qualify teachers to be pedagogues, which means they, you know, they must be a coach, life coaches, mentors, and even entrepreneurs. They need to guide the children and students to the best ways without imposing anything of them. You know, at the end of the day, at the end of the process, children, students should make their own choices and decide on whatever that they need. The second question, do we need schools? And here I mean the traditional structure of the schools that we have in Palestine and the majority of the countries everywhere in the world, or community hubs. If we are talking about SDGs, if we are talking about development, you know, our children, our students, the next generation need to be connected with their communities. They need to identify, you know, the needs of the people in order to be able to come up with creative and innovative solutions to the most complex problems that all of us face. And one of the main exercises that we usually use as a part of our program is the community mapping exercise. You know, we need, you know, we do our best, to help our students and even our teachers to identify, the main problems that their communities face and how they can empathize with the most affected, groups by these problems to design, an innovative solutions. The third question: do we need theories or good practices? This is a long debate between the academics and the practitioners. According to our experience, good practices could lead, the academics to come up with theories. It doesn't mean that what we have as theories is wrong, but at the end of the day, people learn when they are doing things, when they are discovering things. But this is also, let's say, a debate that we always have at the Creativity Lab. The fourth question is: do we need education or transformative education? We are instructing our students. We are telling them what they have to do and what they don't. For transformative education is totally different. We provide our children with knowledge and skills, and they need to practice it. They need to come up with results. After that, they implement the whole process, and they manage and implement the whole process. And the last question that we have: do we need students as followers or leaders? But these are the most challenges that we face. I think that they look like, that we are talking about the policy level, but actually they are very translated when we, when we go to the fields and work with our teachers and students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. I'm really like to deep thoughts about all of your questions, and I mean, these are the same questions I keep asking myself, and whoever who come up with such similar discussions. Yes, so yes, definitely. Do we need theories or good practices? So we need to figure out, and we need to try to give more weightage to something which is more important for our children now. Do they keep learning those theories, or they move forward and take good practices and try to learn from it and get skills and values and try to transfer those skills for their communities? So do we need traditional schools anymore? I mean, this is also one of a very big question I keep asking myself, and this is like a starting point for people like me and so many other people who want to work and have their own schools. So that's amazing. And I really love the idea of community mapping. I just loved it. I mean, this is something I would take it from your discussion. So thank you so much for sharing everything. Now over to you, Susan. We would like to hear from you about the challenges you have faced, and in particular with School 21, what all you want to share with us, and what are your solutions, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Can you see my screen? It says it's not sharing. Is it fine?
It's visible.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'm going to talk about the challenges I faced implementing into a school, because that's the side that I help School 21 with, not so much the business side of the challenges of getting it into the schools. It's ideas that we can use to help. So one of the first challenges that I faced was when teachers were trying to put curriculum together, they were trying to base the lesson, like, do I have something from science? Do I have something from technology? Do I have something from engineering? Do I have something from mathematics? They took the acronyms literally, instead of looking at it as a whole lesson or program or unit. This was the slide that I made when I initially put it together. I also agree that it really should be STEAM, not STEM. And as we were talking about it, it made me think of something. The creativity is important, because there's something I saw happen in the classroom when we started to integrate STEM. Some of our we started as trying to do it individually with individual teachers, and I was the coach and I helped them. And they were so resistant to it that it didn't work. So we changed it so that it was the kids would come to me 2 days a week. It was grades, preschool through 8, and I would do the STEM lessons with their help for the curriculum from their particular grades, because I was not an expert in those areas. But what I did find, and why I think that the creativity, the art, the creativity is important. The students that struggled academically with what we would consider typical academic subjects, math, reading, the kids that were more creative or struggled with more the typical, what we would grade and what we assess, they took the lead in the STEM classroom. They were able to look at a bigger picture instead of just focusing in on a math problem. Whatever the challenge was or whatever problem we were trying to solve, they could look at the big picture and take their creativity and start to pull that in. Those kids were the ones that were helping the academically forward children, our gifted children. The gifted children were struggling because they were, focused on one topic, where these kids that struggled in the other classrooms, they got to take the lead. And that was something that it was a happy byproduct of a STEM classroom. The challenges that I saw, the administration and the faculty were resistant to change, trying new things, bringing things in. The administration was unsure of how to get started or implement it. They heard about it, but what was it? Always with everything in education, lack of funds to get started. Again, the unclear ideas were the same, and inadequate STEAM training. And that goes back to, I found that STEM.org program, and it helped me put things together to help the other teachers. So what solutions did we come up with? Just my opinion, but I think the key is engineering design process. If you can get the kids to start to look at things this way, not just like you said, you can use the gamification, you can use the bingo games, you can use all the different things that the other presenters have talked about to lead them down this path. I think that's even at the littlest age. I've done it with the preschoolers where I kind of take them step by step. They're never going to think about it. A 3-year-old isn't going to think about define and identify, but you start this process really early. Then when we get to the point where we want to take it into the framework and out into the communities, they're already using 21st century skills and being independent thinkers instead of just following some kind of outline. I have teachers that would put together what they called a STEM challenge. It gave them the question, it gave them the answer, it gave them how to put one of the things we saw with all the recycling, and they came up with a problem and they had to try and solve it, whatever it was. Some of my teachers would tell them how to use all the pieces to solve it. And I tried to explain to them that you're not teaching them to think for themselves and be problem solvers. All you're looking at is they can follow directions. That's not what we want from this program. So STEM coaches, if available, or somebody within the organization or within the school that is willing to say, okay, I want to step up and help and want to be the person that wants to learn, because putting a STEM program together, you need to be out there going to seminars like this, reading as much as you can, collaborating, making connections, and learning what's going on in other places to bring that in to help your program. There's prepackaged programs like School 21 and the other companies that are here today. There's also a lot of resources on the internet that you can use to try and put something together. But just like I said, you need to attend more sessions like this to learn. The more we learn, the better we are. And like you can get trained even on your own to come up with best practices. So to wrap up, the key points that I take away from a STEM program is it takes time. Implementation, whether you're a business trying to get into the schools or into the programs, it takes time. The teachers need encouragement and support because some of them are nervous, some of them really don't understand what STEM is, and you need to kind of, walk them through that. Like I said, the engineering design process is the key because we want the students to become critical thinkers, problem solvers, positive changes. That's what we want for innovation, entrepreneurship, and social causes. So the SDGs, everything that we've talked about today, that bringing it into the classroom, taking it out into the classroom. But I think also, like everyone had said, not assessments. We want to make it interesting. We want them to be invested. So that's my take on the challenges and solutions for us putting STEM programs together.
That's amazing. Thank you, Susan. And yes, you said the STEM is more than just an acronym. So this is something that very well resonates with one of the things I had heard, that STEM is a state of mind. It's the way you live your life. It's how you think. That's pretty much, to me, STEM is all about. So it's not just teaching science, math, technology and everything. It's all about how to develop the big picture idea, how to develop the big concepts for your students, and they take it from the classroom and how they can use it. That makes the difference. So I like that idea as well, that how kids are impacted by art. So although we call it STEM or STEAM or whatever, but the creative kids, they take lead into the STEAM program. And that makes me again think about our previous session, the rainbow experience. So we say that we want kids to visualize, to imagine the big picture, and through our teaching and learning experiences and what we give to them, they will be able to visualize rainbow. So that's very important because they need to make sense out of the learning what we are giving to them. And yes, challenges, what you had said is, the teachers are kind of confused because they don't know what resources, what technology, what do they do. But at the moment, what I feel, the good thing, that we all can have some basic STEM activities. So we all can go with the low tech, so we don't have to scare ourselves or our students with something like, okay, they have to do a lot of robotics, coding, programming. No, STEM is about engineering design. So as you have said, it's the process and the outcome that makes the difference, rather than the fancy tools or Arduino kits and, smart machines and smart sensors. That is just a tool which is adding value to our STEM program. But we can do STEM with a piece of paper, with straws. So basically what I liked is the idea of engineering design. And you can introduce this idea to a kindergarten kid with say you've seen that video that you want to throw a taco party. So they need to come up with their solutions, if you have all seen that video. So that's pretty much the idea of engineering design, how they design their taco for the party, and then they follow the whole engineering design cycle and they learn out of it. They definitely fail, but they learn how to overcome it. So I don't want to take a lot of time out of that I want to interact with the audience now. So I would just share my screen. And I want audience to just see this question. And if they can participate with us, we'll be very happy to hear from them. So are you all able to see my screen now? Yes, I want audience and all our amazing participants to let us know any interesting STEAM learning activity which they want they want to be included in a STEAM program. So we are very, very glad, and we want to hear from our audience, what do they want for their children? So this is very important for us to know. So any kind of activity which you feel is very important for you, you can take the code from here. So I would just share my screen again and just you can take the code from here and you will reach to that page. So if you can just scan this QR code scanner, you will reach directly to the page, and we would like to hear from the audience what STEAM learning activity they want the STEAM program developers or curriculum developers to be adding to their STEAM program, which is very much relevant for their children and for their students as well. And in the meantime, we will wait for the audience participation, and we'll see how the audience comes up with their own ideas of what do they want for their children. And we will see this poll again in the last few minutes. So I want to go to the last part of our session. We have certain suggestions and some recommendations for all of you.
Sorry,
Yes.
Abhilasha, can you share the QR code or the link?
All right, I'll do that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so okay, here you go. So I think the link is there. You can directly go and you can have your response through the link. And if you want to use the code, it's here. So can you all see the link now? So we look forward to your response. And in the meantime, I just want to share a few things with you. So what you want to take from this session, you have got amazing insights from our experts, and they have shared a lot about what you can do to have your own STEAM program, and about how can you integrate sustainable development goals to your program, and how can you have a holistic program which suits children needs, and what do we need for them to solve future challenges. Here's something which I want to share with you. It's a visual which you can have a deeper look. So your STEAM thematic program, when you are in the process of making that program, you would like to ask these two questions to yourself. What skills do children want to learn? And how will they transfer them to solve real world issues? That's very important. And what projects you want to should be included based on what they want to learn, what projects should be included at each level and why. So these are the two questions you would like to ask yourself when you are in the stage of building your own STEAM program. Yes, definitely, these are very important elements in your STEAM thematic program, which I feel are very important to have a look if you're into building your own program, that your program, does it have a subject integration? You should try to integrate art, music, social studies, and as much as you can. STEAM just says STEAM, but the possibilities are endless. So try to integrate as many subjects into your STEAM thematic program. But again, it's not possible to integrate all the subjects in one particular lesson. So you are the best judge. You decide based on what kind of lesson you are creating. It should be meaningful to your students. They should find it relevant. They should be able to make sense out of it. So that's very important. It should meet students' needs. So what backgrounds they have come from, what cultures they belong to, what communities have they come from. So you need to look into all of these things and design your own STEAM program. It should fit local context. So for example, if I am designing a STEAM program for Qatar, I would not like to have a lesson about, coming up with the solutions to deal with earthquakes or volcanoes. I would rather add something like biodiversity in coastal areas or flora and fauna in the desert, for example. I would ask my students to solve those problems which are relevant to Qatar. That's very important for us to look into. it should also lead to complex problem solving. And that's a very important part, that we start with a problem in designing those lessons and students work towards those problems, or not just that, the students come up with the problems and then they work towards solving those problems. So it should lead to problem solving. And the most important thing, we are here at Catalyst 2030, so we need to be, we need to remind ourselves that it should be driven by SDGs. So it should have a sustainable development goal linked to it. So each and every lesson, what we are preparing, that's the best thing I liked about School 21, that their DIY books are linked to the SDGs, and that way they've done really well. So these are some of the ideas about building your own STEAM program. Now, recommendations as Catalyst 2030 members, and as all social innovators and entrepreneurs are there on board, together we want to bring the transformation, and we can bring that transformation. What do we need for our children? We need to work together now, and we need to collaborate, and we need to co-create such kind of STEAM thematic curriculum for not just for our country, for all the other countries, and for, I mean, as much as possible, if we can do such kind of collaboration, not just educators collaborating with educators, but we want social entrepreneurs to come on board. We want youth to join us, and that's very important. We want all the community members, industry experts, and almost everyone who can give their expert advice to come and join in creation of such a program. So thank you very much. And I would like to hear from all of you if you have any suggestions regarding this session in particular, or if you want to reach out to any of us, we will be sharing their emails with you. So you can reach out to all of us, and you can share your feedback, share your insights, and stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhilasha. I just want to mention one last thing. This session is a part of collaboration that we have in the MENA. It's about STEAM education and how we can transform education and have more projects, more programs that address the SDGs and make students more creative. I would invite all of you to join this collaboration, and please reach out to me. I'm Ghufran, the MENA chapter's coordinator. I'll put now my email in the chats so that if you want to be part of this collaboration, do join as well. Thank you, everybody. It has been a lovely, amazing session with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we wish to hear more from you. And not just that, we wish to collaborate with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhilasha. Thank you, Ghufran.
Thank you so much, Nisaf. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.